uh, the build process for JavaFX applications in JavaFX. Here you can see the build process for JavaFX application. This diagram explains the flow of the build process for JavaFX application. JavaFX applications and preloaders are packaged into separate jar files, separate jar archives, and so are presented separately in the diagram, but flow is the same. Main application and preloaders consist of source code, style sheets, and other resources. Source code must be compiled, and style sheets can optionally be converted to the binary format. The source code, style sheet, and other resources are combined to create a jar archive, which can optionally be signed and have a certificate attached. For web applications, the deployment descriptor JNLP file is prepared to produce the final package consisting of one or more executable jar files, the deployment descriptor, and a web page with the embedded application or a link to launch web start application. To produce the web page, it is possible to use an input template with variables. The build process for JavaFX applications extend the normal build process with several additional steps as outlined in this figure. New or modified steps are marked with colored arrows as described as follows. Optional converts style sheets to binary form. Create jar. Packages code and resources needed for the JavaFX application into a jar file and embeds the utility classes to support auto detection of JavaFX runtime, launch on double click, and integration with the preloader jar if needed. Optional sign the jar files. Signing jar files is needed only when the application requires elevated privileges such as accessing files on the local file system or accessing non-secure system properties. Signing is not a new concept, and you can sign the jar files for your JavaFX application in the same way as you would for Swing AWT applications. JavaFX runtime supports a new method to sign jar files that reduces the jar size overhead for signing, thereby improving download time. Run the deployment tasks. Assembles the application package for redistribution. By default, the deploy task will generate the base application package, but it can also generate self contained application packages if requested. The JavaFX packaging tools. The recommended way to package JavaFX application is to use collection of ant-task and-javafx.jar provided with the JavaFX SDK and also with JDK 7 update 6 or later. NetBeans IDE uses these antas to package JavaFX projects. Embedded packaging support in NetBeans IDE covers most of the typical use cases. However, if you need to send something special, you can always tune packaging by adding custom packaging to hooks to the build.xml file. For example, as a -post-jar target. Most of the other popular IDEs can easily use custom and built scripts. Other popular build frameworks, for example, Maven and Gradle, supports integration with Ant also. JavaFX SDK and JDK 7 update 6 or later include command line packaging utility JavaFX Packager, which can be used for simple packaging tasks. Note that JavaFX Packager is a convenient utility that and does not provide as much flexibility or as many options as Ant tasks. Note that JavaFX Packager also provide a -make call macro command to create a complete application package for simple application. The task convert any CSS files to binary format. JavaFX Packager library and task is fx : CSS to bin. JavaFX Packager tool command is JavaFX Packager -create BSS. In NetBeans packaging category, in project properties, select binary encode JavaFX CSS files checkbox. Create jar archive. JavaFX Packager library and task is JavaFX :jar. JavaFX Packager tool command is JavaFX Packager -create jar. In NetBeans IDE occurs by default with the build command using configuration in build projects. Assign a Java archive as one binary project. JavaFX Packager library and task JavaFX is JavaFX -signjar. JavaFX Packager tool command is JavaFX Packager -signjar. NetBeans IDE in NetBeans IDE deployment category in project properties, request unrestricted access checkbox. To attach a certificate, click edit. Assemble application package for deployment. JavaFX Packager library and task command is JavaFX :deploy. JavaFX Packager tool command is JavaFX Packager -deploy. In NetBeans IDE, base application package is produced by default with the build command. Style sheet conversion. Converting style sheet to binary format is optional but improves application performance. This is especially noticeable on larger CSS files. Usage and task convert CSS files to binary. JavaFX package tool -create BSS command in the JavaFX Packager reference. NetBeans IDE in packaging category of project properties, select binary encode JavaFX CSS files. Create main application jar file. In addition to the application classes and resources, you can provide the information. You can provide the following information when you create main application jar file: platform requirements, required versions of Java runtime and JavaFX runtime, any required Java VM argument, following details about the application, name of the main application class required, class required property, required one, name of the preloader class, if there is a preloader, name of the fallback classes to use if the platform does not support JavaFX, details about the application resources if applicable, a set of class files and other resources including the jar file, list of auxiliary jar files needed by the application including custom preloader jar file if needed. To use the JavaFX packaging tools to create the main application, jar file is application jar file is very important for packaging double clickable jars and self-contained application. The main application jar file will include the launcher program that takes care of bootstrap launch. This also improves launch by checking for JavaFX runtime, guiding the user through any necessary installations, setting the system proxy for your application. Note, if you have a preloader shown in this figure, create a separate jar file with the preloader resources using any packaging tools listed. Tools usage and task is fx jar. In JavaFX packager tool is dash create jar command. In NetBeans IDE, handle automatically when you specify this information in the project properties. Sign the jar files. Before adding code to sign your application, ensure that signing is needed because it's carried the cost of overhead to perform validation and often causes additional dialog boxes to be shown to the end user on the application startup. If you want to use traditional methods to sign jar files, consult the Java tutorials steps for code signing and description of the standard and sign jar tasks for installation about traditional signing method. JavaFX also provide a new signing method that helps to reduce the size overhead of signing the jar file. In this method, you sign jar files as one large object instead of signing every jar entry individually. This saves up to 10% of total jar size. To use the signing method provided by JavaFX, you need key store and signing key. The usage and task is fx sign jar. JavaFX packager tool dash sign jar command in the JavaFX packager reference. In NetBeans IDE users enable signing when they request elevated permissions for the application by selecting the request unrestricted access checkbox in the project properties. To sign the specific certificate, click edit next to the checkbox. Note, all jar files must be signed or unsigned in the context of a single deployment descriptor file. If you need to mix signed and unsigned jar file, use an additional JavaFX deploy and task to generate an additional deployment descriptor for each jar file. These additional deployment descriptors are called extension descriptors. Use fx resources to refer to the extension descriptors when the main descriptor is generated. Run the deploy task or command. The basic redistribution package consists of the following items: the main executable jar file, optional a set of auxiliary jar files including a jar file with preloader code, deployment descriptor defining how to deploy the application, either basic HTML file with simple code to embed the application into your own web page or a custom web page that is a result of pre-processing an HTML template. JavaFX packaging tools can also package the application as a self-contained application bundle. This is an opt-in scenario and it is disabled by default. To assemble the redistributable package, you can use one of the following ways: and task fx deploy, JavaFX packaging tool dash deploy command in the JavaFX packager reference, In NetBeans IDE, a redistributable package is created every time you build the project. Packaging options are set in the project's properties. Configure the deployment descriptor. The key part of this task is to providing information to the to fill the deployment descriptor for web deployment. This information includes entry points, the main application class, preload class, and other details defined as attributes of the fx application tag. Parameters to be passed to the application defined using JavaFX param and fx HTML param tags under fx application. The preferred application stage size. It is crucial to reserve the display area for embedded content. Width and height are defined using width and height attributes in the fx deploy tag for AND task. The JavaFX packager -deploy command in the JavaFX packager tool or in run category of NetBeans project properties. The description of an application to be used in any dialog boxes that the user sees during application startup, defined using the fx info tag. Next point, platform requirement, including required version of the Java and JavaFX runtimes and JVM settings, defined using fx platform tag. Next point, desktop integration preferences of the application, such as adding a shortcut to the desktop or a reference to the startup, defined using optional fx preferences. Permissions. Next point, permissions needed to run the application. By default, the web application run in the sandbox. To request elevated permissions, use the fx permissions tag. Note that in order for the permissions to be granted, application jar files must be signed, and the user must trust the security certificate used for signing. If the application requests elevated permissions but requirements for the user granting permissions are not met, the application will fail to launch. Application resources. The supported application resources. Supported application resource files include jar files, native jar files, JNLP files, icons, license files, data files. Every resource has additional metadata associated with it, such as operating system and architecture for which this resource is applicable, plus a priority preference defining the point in the application lifecycle at which the resource is needed. Careful use of metadata may have a significant impact of the application startup experience. All files in the resource set will be copied to the build output folder. However, not all of them are used in the execution modes. Regardless of the execution mode, all regular jar files from the resource set will be added to the application class path. Native jar files and JNLP files are only used for web deployment. Additional JNLP files are typically used to refer to the external JNLP extension, or if the application itself is packaged as a set of components. Native jar files are used to deploy native libraries used by the application. Each native jar file can contain a set of native dynamic libraries and is inherently platform specific. License files are currently applicable to self-contained application only and are used to add a click-through license to installation packages. Data files do not have special semantics, and applications are free to use them for anything. For example, if your application needs a bundle of movie file, then you can mark it as a data and it will be included in the application package. Package custom JavaScript actions. Deployment toolkit provides a set of hooks that can be used to customize the startup behavior when an application is deployed in the browser. Developers must install the callback function to the hook, and it will be utilized by the deployment toolkit. However, in order to ensure that they are correctly installed, they also must be specified in at packaging time. To specify callback, list them in the fx callbacks tag on the fx deploy. Add an fx callback entry for every callback you want to install and specify the name of the hook in the name attribute. The content of fx callback tag is the JavaScript function to be used. You can use a full function definition or refer to a function defined elsewhere. Usage and task fx callback. JavaFX packager tool, see -deploy command in the JavaFX packager reference. NetBeans ID, add callback in the deployment category of project properties. Click the edit button to the right custom JavaScript actions. Web page templates. By default, JavaFX packaging tools generate a simple web page with the placeholder for the embedded application. You can manually copy code from this generated page to your real web page, but this is error prone and time consuming if you need to do this often. JavaFX packaging tool also support injecting required code into an existing web page through the use of an input template. This is especially useful when the application is tightly integrated with the web page. For example, if the application uses JavaScript to communicate to the web page, or if the callbacks are used and their code is kept in the web page itself. The usage and task, add the template tag. JavaFX package tool -deploy command in the JavaFX packager reference. In NetBeans ID, specify the input HTML file in the run category of the project properties. Passing parameters to the application. JavaFX application supports two types of application parameters, named and unnamed. Static name parameters can be added to the application package using fx param, and unnamed parameters can be added using fx argument. They are applicable to all execution modes, including standalone applications. It is also possible to pass parameters to a JavaFX application from a web page that hosts it using fx HTML param. Prior to JavaFX 2.2, this was only supported for embedded applications. Starting from JavaFX 2.2, JavaFX HTML param is applicable to web start application also. Passing parameters to the HTML page is the most useful if parameters are dynamic. To use this technique, we recommend the following approach. Use a web page template to provide JavaScript code to prepare dynamic preferences. Pass a JavaScript snippet as a value for fx HTML param and specify escapes equal false. Then it will be evaluated at runtime. Customizing JVM setup. You can specify required JVM options and set the properties using fx JVM mark and fx property tags at your end task. These tags are applicable for all execution modes except standalone applications. In other words, you always get a default JVM if you double click at the jar file, but you can tailor the JVM to your requirement if you are running a self-contained application, a web start application, or an application embedded into a web page. Packaging complex applications. Real life applications often have more than just a single jar artifact. They may have third-party libraries, data files, native codes, and so on. For the complex application, you may need the special packaging tweak to support different execution modes. There are too many possible scenarios to cover all cases, but here are some guidelines. Mark platform-specific resources accordingly. For the double-clickable jar file, consider repackaging everything into a single giant jar file and loading native libraries and data files from inside the jar. Alternative, if you prefer to have multiple files, make sure all dependent jar files are listed in fx resources tag in the fx jar task that will create the main jar. List all the jar files and libraries in file sets with type equal data to copy them into output folder. Load native libraries and resources from locations relative to the main jar file. Self-contained applications. For self-contained applications, avoid packaging anything but the main jar file using fx jar. Multiple embedded launchers can confuse the native launcher. List all dependent jar files in the fx resources section of fx deploy and fx jar for the main application jar file. Either use explicit location relative to the application jar file to load native libraries or copy native libraries to the root application folder. For web start and embedded application, list all dependent jar files in the fx resources section of fx deploy. Native libraries should be wrapped into the jar files for redistribution. Use one jar file per platform. Ensure jar files contain native libraries only and that the libraries are all on top of on top level folder for the jar file. Publishing an application that fills the browser window. Prior to JavaFX 2.2, it was not an easy to size embedded application relative to the size of the web browser window. The width and height attributes of the fx deploy task can only take numerous values because they are used not to just generate HTML JavaScript code but also the deployment descriptor. In JavaFX 2.2, the two new attributes were added: fx deploy task, embedded width and embedded height. These attributes enable you to specify the size relative to the browser window, for example 50%. Performance tuning for web deployment. There are several options that can be used to improve application launch time for the first and subsequent launches of the web application. One, background update check for the application, embedded deployment descriptor into the web page, embedded signing certificate into deployment descriptor, and use new JavaFX signing method, signed applications. Here you can see application, source code, CSS style sheets and other resources, images, etc. inside application here. Source code is connected to the compile code. Compile code is connected to create jar. Here CSS style sheets are connected to binary CSS via convert to binary, and binary CSS is connected to create jar. Here source code, CSS style sheets and other resources, images etc. are in preloader. Source code is connected to compiled code, and CSS style sheets are connected to binary CSS via convert to binary, and create jar here and here are connected to this section. Here executable application jar, sign jar is connected to it, and here preloader jar, sign jar is connected to it. This goes with the deploy. Here additional libraries and resources are connected to deploy. Here web page template is connected to deploy. Here deploy is connected to base package, my main executable jar, preload jar, other libraries, and deployment descriptor JNLP, and web page are inside base package. Here the self-contained application bundle, application JavaFX runtimes, native live launcher, here exe, dmg, etc. Now this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for watching it.